things we're offering is a bit of extra input on some of the Mark passages that we've been looking in our all age services. Now, this extra input is going to be unscripted. It's going to be a chat through some of the things we had to think about when we were preparing the talk, some of the things we've spotted in the passage, with the idea that you'll go back to Mark's Gospel and see some more stuff there. You'll look in detail at the text yourself. And so today, I just want to pick up on some of the bits that we've seen the last couple of weeks, because I gave you some extra information for, I think, the demon-possessed man passage. But then since then, we've had Jairus and the woman who touched him. And then this last Sunday, we've had Jesus in his hometown. And there are a few things I just want to flag up for you, really. And the first is with the Jairus and the woman. And one of the things I think we spotted, wasn't it, as we were doing it, was the significance of touch and the Old Testament background with the unclean laws, of how, the woman touching Jesus was actually a really significant thing. And then Jesus touching the body of a dead girl was really significant. And instead of the uncleanness flowing from the person who was unclean to Jesus, actually life flowed from Jesus to, first of all, the woman, and then to the girl. But I think there's some really fascinating contrasts which I covered in the talk. But one of the things that Mark loves to do is to interweave stories. So you have Jesus back in a Jewish area, and you have Jairus pleading with him to come and put his hands on his daughter so that she'll live. And then, Jesus is going, and then we have this next episode. Now, obviously, it probably did actually happen it did happen as Mark records it, because he's a reliable recorder, he's a reliable witness. But you have the tension building as Jairus' daughter, we know, is in a critical condition, and Jesus just seems so relaxed. He's this woman has touched him, and now he stops. If he was the ambulance with the blue flashing lights and was rushing to help Jairus' daughter, it's like he switched the lights off and just decided to have a look round and find out who's touched him, and then have this big conversation with her. And it's a theme there that we don't necessarily spot. But remember, Jesus in the boat, in the storm, he's not panicking. Here, Jesus with Jairus' daughter is not panicking. You see, if Jesus has the power that he has over creation, over evil spirits, over disease and death, he never needs to panic. He's never rushed off his feet. Nothing's ever too serious for him that he's stressed. And I don't know about you, but with all the COVID stuff going on and all the stresses we've got, isn't it reassuring to know that our Saviour is not stressed? He's not panicking. And that little aspect of Jesus there you get is you see, because of how it's interwoven. We're going to actually see another thing that's interwoven in Mark 6, where Jesus sends out the 12 to go and have authority to teach and to drive out demons. And then Mark then includes a whole lot of detail that's a flashback about how John the Baptist died. And then we get the 12 disciples returning. So again, it's that little pattern. It's a little pattern that's worth spotting as we're working through Mark's Gospel. Another theme that we're seeing being pulled out is this theme of fear and faith. You remember the disciples, they're afraid in the boat. The people being afraid of the demon-possessed, well, not afraid of the demon-possessed man, they're afraid when they see Jesus has healed him. That's when they're afraid. And then you've got Jesus saying to Jairus, don't be afraid. just believe. That he doesn't need to panic. You see, with Jesus, who is not panicking, who's not worrying, we don't need to be afraid at any point. Sorry, I just had to, my display decided to go to sleep at that point. I didn't set that up properly. And then we get Jesus coming to his hometown, which is the section we looked at this Sunday just gone. And it's a bit of an odd one because it's a lot hard. It's a passage that's easy to understand what it's saying, but why is it here? And one of the useful things actually that somebody pointed out to me is that when Jesus appointed the 12 disciples back in Mark 3, we're told he appointed 12, this is Mark 3 verse 14, that they might be with him and that he might send them out to preach and to have authority to drive out demons. And actually, from there on, we don't actually see Jesus sending them out. We just see them with him. So in some ways, Mark 3 through to Mark 6, 6 verse 7, when Jesus does send them out, is Jesus teaching the disciples, which we saw in Mark 4 about them coming to him to find out more about the parables. Jesus in the boat on the storm, that miracle happens, and the people who see it are the disciples. Similarly, the demon-possessed man, the ones who really see what's going on are the disciples. The dead girl and the sick woman, again, it's the disciples who really get to see up close what's going on. So in a way, Jesus has been showing his disciples, the 12, his power and authority. They're the ones who are seeing him in his glory, as it were. And then Jesus comes to his hometown, and he must have chosen deliberately to go there. And I wonder if he knew what was going to happen. And that's preparing the disciples for the fact that it's not all going to be plain sailing. It's not all going to be easy. Actually, there'll be their home people, the people who know them best, who are going to reject them, who are going to ignore them, who are going to laugh at them, who are going to not want anything to do with him. So that's how that sort of theme, some of those themes follow through. There's also like we've seen, that theme of authority. There's that tantalizing verse in chapter 6, 5 and 6. He could not do any miracles there except lay his hands on a few people who were ill and heal them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. See, notice that theme of fear and faith. And here it's, they're not really afraid. They just don't have faith. And when they don't have faith, they don't get Jesus' authority displayed. They don't trust that he can do what the disciples have seen him do. So all the time, Mark is showing us all this stuff about Jesus, that we might have faith, that we might trust Jesus' authority, that we might not be afraid. I mean, we might not be afraid of the storms, that we might not be afraid of evil, that we might not be afraid of disease, that we might not be afraid of death, and that we might not be afraid of rejection, of people rejecting Jesus, of people rejecting us as well. And in the end, actually, we follow Jesus not because we want honour, but we want Jesus to be honoured. And when his own hometown didn't honour him, well, we can expect to be treated the same, can't we? So there's some thoughts there, and probably there's more things that I'd want to say, but I've forgotten what I was going to say, some of those things. But if those are helpful, take them. If they're not, feel free to leave them. But we'll every now and then we'll give you some extra stuff just to get you looking at the details of what Mark has put in his gospel.